want to. Is that
I
good?
long to die.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still do. Because I don't fit into this world just as much as a monkey doesn't really belong in the zoo. God, I got my secrets. Care about the only one who sees. Some things I still struggle with, and I'm told to just believe that it'll be okay. Well, it's easy for some to say it, and they don't have a clue what's going on. You can't just take a pill, say a prayer, expect this to be gone. These battles are mine. That's hides in my soul, the heaviest weight around my neck, and they are out of my control. I can't stand it when others play my game. They come along trying to act like they know my pain. I just brush them off, let them go their way. Act like, yeah, it's all sweet and I'll see you another day. Anything to get rid of those that are reaching out. Because they can't help me if they can't understand my fears and my doubts. And I doubt that I could truly change. Like the colour of my skin will fix this broken world that I've been living in. But is this really the problem? This thing that I'm focusing on? This pain and this source has been there for so long, I don't remember where it began. It's like I've been broken since Adam was the first man. But this ain't the way things are meant to be. Young people lost hope and don't believe that they could be someone great. If you got air in your lungs today, you are not a mistake. For many, it's too late. Because every year nearly 1 million people commit suicide. Yet we hide so that we don't see those that are down, dejected, rejected, depressed and disheartened and neglected each day. Did you know that those who are gay or struggle with their sexual identity are more likely to be suicidal and feel empty? Same goes for those that come from broken homes. Parents gone, kids left alone. 5-year-olds, 6, 7, mummy and daddy have gone to heaven. Or being picked on in school, given so much that it's past just not being cool. Or the money, when you're living below the poverty line, when your health is gone and you're running out of time. You think there's no reason for your life? Being abused day and night by some guy that thinks he has the right? And these are only a few of the reasons how young people choose to refuse living life. Now this just ain't right. People die of suicide in Australia every year. That's over 10,000 in the last 5 years committed right here. They could be your loved one, your neighbour, friend, son. If 10,000 young people thought that death was the only way out, then I'm sure there's 10,000 more we can reach before this year is out. But it doesn't stop there. These stats are only a speck of dust on a global sphere. With 1 million suicides a year, there's also an attempted suicide every 3 seconds. That means that with nearly every breath you take today, someone else will be attempting to take theirs away. Why do we accept these stats and label them as facts? Why do we confront what we see and turn youth suicide into history? And they say that suicide has reached an all-time high worldwide. Well, I say suicide should never be listed as one of the top killers in any society. And I ain't finished. I want to see suicide diminished. Because this is wrong on so many levels. Yet we seem more concerned about our societal rebels than putting those in line that commit crimes. What about the blood that's on our own hands? How can we stand for what is right and not fight for the very lives that are being taken? See, we have mistaken our mission, selfishly setting our life goals around increasing our own commission. No, you don't need permission to clear your mind, heart, eyes and vision so you can clearly see other people around you. Does what I'm saying confound you? Well, if it does, I want to say it straight. So that you get that there is no debate over the fact that we are already running late to help someone who is down and out. Because 40 seconds ago, someone just died of suicide. And 5 will have gone from start to end of the song. And I'm going to continue, even though you're feeling awkward and squirming in your seat. Because this ain't the kind of thing where we can just turn off our TV and hope that it will go away. Nuh-uh. 3,000 people die each day. Because people like you and I just look away.
Oh, okay, someone else is getting the lights. We got the lights, guys. We got the lights. So, I'm going to start out by kind of telling a little bit of a story. It's about this girl. You could almost say I grew up with her, but at the same time, you couldn't. She's that one girl that when you see her out in the hallways, she's smiling. Don't let the smile fool you. When you see her with her friends, she's cracking jokes. She's the loudest person in the hallway. Everyone can hear her. She's staring off into space because space just seems a lot more interesting than a tree. She's, I don't know, falling in love with someone who she knows is never going to feel the same, but that person was there to hold her when she cried when no one else seemed to care enough to even notice. She's the person who makes everyone else happy, but you would never guess her secret. She wears long sleeves to cover up something that she's been embarrassed about well, not really her entire life, but at least the past 4 years. You would never guess that when she goes home, that girl who has stood so strong for everyone else, when everyone else's world was falling apart, the second she makes it through her door, her world falls apart. She resorts to some sort of music, maybe piano, a symphony, and almost as though it has become muscle memory at this point, she reaches for a razor, maybe a lighter, and the first aid kit that has been so expertly hidden behind her bed that has almost become closer to her than her own best friend. She tells herself one last time, the same thing she'd been saying to herself for months, years even. Over these months and years, she had developed just a couple nicknames for herself. Nicknames she never thought she would be able to give herself, but needless to say, they were given. She was worthless, pathetic, waste of space, imperfect. Hi, my name is Worthless, pathetic, waste of space, imperfect. And although that seems like a very odd opening for something that is against suicide, cutting, self-degradation, at the same time it does make sense. But I'd actually like to get past the intro and start with a question. My biggest question right now is, why is it that when a person struggles with an extreme drug addiction, such as heroin, or cocaine or meth, it is, here, let me help you. Here, you need help, let me do this. Or why is it that when someone gets hurt, broken arm for instance, everyone rushes to sign the cast? Yet when a person deals with eating disorders, self-harm, suicidal tendencies, and depression, everyone either runs the other way, or on top of the nicknames that most people will give themselves, they are given their own nicknames from other people. Emo, you want nothing but attention, crazy, wacko, the list goes on. It's never ending because there's an arsenal being upgraded all the time. There are about 316.4 million people living in America, and most commonly in between the ages of 14 to 25. 2 million of these Americans deal with self-harm. That means that 2 million people out of 316.4 million, 2 million of them think that their life is so terrible, things are so hard for them. Everything is just crashing around and they are so confused and don't know what to do, to the point that they have to take and hurt themselves. Whether it be cutting or burning yourself or punching something to the point where you break your own hand. It all counts. And out of that same 316.4 million, 8 million people deal with eating disorders. that means that 8 million people feel like their body is so terrible that they have to either go days, weeks, even months without eating very much, at least, or eat as much as they can, turn around and throw it back up, or just continuously eat. People who deal with these things, when they finally realize they need help, they go through recovery. Now, let's just get one thing straight. Recovery is not that little brunette girl that you see out in the hallway with scars on her wrist who is never going to cut again. It is not that skinny little blonde who's never going to skip just one more meal. It's not that dark-haired, mysterious boy who disappeared for a month and a half because he was in rehab for attempting suicide, who isn't going to think about taking his life just one more time. Recovery is waking up every morning and thinking to yourself, I got through yesterday, let's get through today. And don't try and focus when you are recovering, do not try and focus on, okay, I'm not going to cut this month. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. Don't tell yourself, I won't cut this year. Wake up in the morning and say, I will not do this today. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's a drug addiction, cutting, eating disorder, cigarettes, it doesn't matter. Don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to get through this year. Wake up and say, I'm going to get through today. It's a lot easier. For everyone who, in this room, who has dealt with something along these lines, or even if it's just a depressed day, which I can guarantee is almost everyone. Because everyone gets depressed. Some people may deal with it better than others. Some people may break down, lock themselves away in this little shell because that's all they've ever known. But for, most importantly, everyone who has dealt with self-harm, eating disorders, suicide, I have something that I want to say specifically to you. And I'm going to sound crazy here for a minute, like a raving lunatic. I was raised under the belief that everyone in this world has guardian angels. Your guardian angel is not someone who you don't see, who just isn't there. There's someone that you spend time with every single day in your life, someone who you see every day, an actual, physical, tangible person. And at the same time that you have your guardian angels, you are someone else's. Because you will always find people who will give you a reason to keep going, but you will always be someone else's reason to keep going. It doesn't matter how hard it is to keep going. There's always a reason.